just wanted to check and see how kind of the adjustment and acclimation to a new offense and new teammates has gone so far.
Oh yeah, man, it's been going good. I've been putting the work in, honestly, trying to get into this new offense and this new scheme. Been a lot of similarities in the past of things that our offenses I've been in, like when we was in Washington and just a few other places, but that's what makes Sean McVay very unique. He's always adding twists and schemes into his offense, to keep the defenses off guard. So I'm still diving into it and still trying to, gather all the information and still learning. But it's been a great process so far, working with the new guys, with the team, and, just having a lot of fun doing it.
Gary, sorry I had to mute you after that. So you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, that echo was crazy.
Here we got that echo. DeSean, how about working with Matthew Stafford? How has that gone so far? What have you kind of learned about him, and what do you anticipate in the season?
Oh man, it's been awesome with Matt. Having a veteran quarterback, that's played a lot of ball in this league. For me mentally, I think he has a grasp on coming in and just really already kind of knowing the system. The biggest thing I could say is, his terminology as far as him coming from Detroit and partner with Sean McVay. I mean, them two guys, man, came together and gelled together quick right away. So for me, kind of been great on the fly because I had two guys, like them that's been able to kind of help, make the transition for me a lot easier.
Thanks very much.
Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, DeSean, there was one of the emphasis was just the communication, especially speaking about that with you and Matthew Stafford, as far as just the language and knowing where to be and where to line up. How has that development happened for you thus far?
Well, I mean, it's still early on. I know we had, it's our 5th week, being at it so far. So far, man, it's been, something for as a professional like myself, going on my 14th year. A lot of the intangibles I had, just from knowing, different terminologies, different, concepts and offenses. For me, it's kind of, a lot of it is similar and a lot of it is unique. But, like I said, it's just a certain terminology is a little different that he switched up and changed up a little bit. So for me, just really being able to be in a position to kind of hear it. And, it's a difference from hearing it and being able to go on the field and go actually, rep it, so being able to have the OTAs, being back at it and being able to be out there on the field with the guys has been able to be, for me, a huge help. And not only that, just getting, the relationships down with my teammates, Rob, Coop, guys, like that, and just kind of just seeing how we're going to work together, man. It's going to be definitely a scary group for defenses and defenders, because Sean McVay, one thing about it, he's going to figure out how to get people open. So we just look forward to having a lot of fun doing it.
And you talked about Robert and Cooper, but also Tutu Atwell. What have you seen out of him, and how much, have you been able to communicate with him and kind of show him some of the things that you've learned, since a lot of people kind of compare him to you, rather, as far as just a younger version of you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for him, to have guys like myself, Rob, and Coop, just to kind of see the example we set. When we step on the field, I think being able to be a mentorship at this age, my career, even with Coop and Rob as well too, just playing this game for so long and going through what I've went through, experiencing what I've experienced. Definitely have a lot of to give back to these guys. So for Tutu, I think it's huge for him to just go out there and just, focus on the things he needs to do, is make himself, a better wide receiver coming from college. Obviously, the NFL is totally different, but, he has the intangible. He works hard. He has a very explosive side to his game. And I think, he's kind of similar where he's deceivingly fast, where, people won't really expect it because he is a smaller frame guy. So it kind of catch you off guard. But, for him, he's just had to put his head down, chin up, and just keep working and just earn, the respect and earn, whatever it is he's destined to have in the NFL.
And lastly, for me, you guys will be able to practice in front of fans, really for the first time at SoFi. How's that experience going to be for you, and how much fun will that be for you?
For me, man, it's gonna be huge being back here in my hometown. Going to Inglewood or somewhere where I started playing as a young kid in the neighborhoods and just Pop Warner. So for me, it's gonna hit a little different, special. Especially, man, I know Thursday will be the first glimpse of it, some family and friends. But as far as the season, man, I'm looking forward to the season. Having SoFi Stadium open back up, and hopefully we can get 100% capacity in there. Man, that's gonna be a dream come true for me to be able to play professional football in my hometown. So excited about that, man. I know I'm gonna be like a little kid on the night before Christmas, getting ready for the first game of the year.
Thanks, DeSean. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Lindsay?
Hey, DeSean, as someone who is on their second stint with Sean McVay, I'm curious what has changed about him since the last time you guys were together in Washington.
Wow, it's crazy you asked that. I mean, we was just out on the practice field talking about it today, man. Man, Sean McVay, I mean, the only thing I can say has changed about him is he's got a lot more smarter, and he's already been smart. So for me, I mean, that guy's he's a special kind, man. He's definitely a rare breed. He's a one-of-one type of guy. And the reason why I say is because he's understanding of his players. He's understanding how to put his players in a great position to, have them succeed when they step onto the field. And, for myself, early on in his career, when we was in Washington, was like his first stint where, he was the guy, he was making the calls, and, the offense was kind of ran around what him and Jay Gruden was doing. Now on the flip side, I mean, everything is him, so he's balling stuff up. He's scheming this up. So it's like, it's his own niche. So I'm just happy to see his growth, where he's at in his career. And he's still young, man. Shit, but he's only like a year older than me, or we might be the same age.
Lindsay, sorry, I had to mute
Yeah,
you.
all good, saw that. And then just again with Matthew Stafford, as someone who and yourself has adapted to new quarterbacks, what do you think is kind of the key for all of you guys as skill playmakers to adapt to Matthew as you guys get ready for the season?
I honestly think we have enough veteran guys on this offense to really understand, playing at this level. I mean, it's like the next man up mentality. So, to have a guy like Matthew where he's played a lot of ball, and, it's not like you have to work with a rookie quarterback or someone's young coming out of college, just not really understanding what it takes to be at, play at a high level. So for all us, I mean, the Coops, the Robs, Higbee, I mean, like all the guys that's been here, we kind of understand what it takes to be able to play with a guy like him. So, I mean, for us, it's easy because we know what we need to do as wide receivers and, tight ends and running backs. We have to be in the right spot in the right time. So as long as we're taking care of our job, we know, he'll do what he needs to do as far as get the ball and distribute it where it needs to go to. So I think that part of it makes it a lot easier. I mean, for the younger guys, probably would be a little more challenge, but I mean, so far as everybody's been learning, everybody's been, competing, everybody's been working together. So we have one common goal, which is to all go out there and be confident when we're playing and to play fast and, to go out there and, just make plays for our team.
Omar?
Hey, DeSean, just kind of following up on that, sort of what are the specific things that you kind of work on at this time of year to gain the trust, of a new quarterback and to make sure you kind of have that chemistry and rhythm, as you get ready for the season?
For myself, I think the biggest thing is just getting your reps, man. Coming to practice, right now it's voluntary workouts, but I mean, spending as much time as you can to get out here and, spend them times on the field, running routes, letting him see your cuts, letting him see your breaks, and just being in the right position in the right time when you're out there running a certain route. And for a quarterback, it's good for him to see that so he can time it up. He can measure it. He knows when I'm about to make this last fifth step, I'm cutting in, eyes turning, like, you get what I'm saying, not hitting the defense where if I'm running a route, I'm showing the defender what I'm doing before I do it. So I think just building that camaraderie with Matthew and going out there and just, kind of showing them, all right, look, in the game, when I have a defender on me, this is how I'm running my route. This is how you should expect it. And if he wants to see a little different as a quarterback, a veteran in this league, he'll tell us that. So I think it's very simple, man. We go out here and just continuously getting reps in. But, where we're at now, we're less than 2 months away from, August and season. So we're gearing up and we're kind of about to end the offseason workouts here. We'll be back here in what, like 7 weeks. So just getting excited and getting ready to gear up.
Does it already feel like you've made strides since that first OTA?
100%. Yeah, I definitely feel like since day one to where we're at now, me personally, I feel a lot better with the schemes and, just really getting to know all the players, getting to know people in the front office, getting to know the training staff, equipment staff. I mean, everybody, you know. So for me, I mean, it's been good for me because I have been a guy that's been in the league that, you know, has a lot of respect, but it's always, you know, different when you go to a new team, you meet new guys, and, you know, everybody has respect for you. So it's mutually respected on my end. And, you know, once again, we're just getting to it so we can get geared up for the season.
Thanks, DeSean.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi, DeSean. You've been around some really good teams, and we're still 100 days out from opening week. But are there things that you can tell, even at this early stage, about a team that tell you whether it has championship material in it?
Yeah, 100%. Good question. Man, since I stepped foot, you know, foot facing, I mean, first day I came here, man, honestly, it was something different about this team. You know, the camaraderie, the mentality, you could tell it's something special. I mean, it's the morale of the team. It's really hard to explain. You would have to kind of be there to understand it. But what I can say is the demeanor of these guys, you know, from the top to the bottom. I mean, I've been on teams where certain individuals had, you know, contract issues or personal issues, or had a situation with a GM or a player. Like when you come here, you don't feel none of that, man. You feel like everybody's on the same page. Everybody has one common goal, and all the personal stuff, the outside football world, like none of that stuff matters. When you come here, we worried about football. We having fun. We're going to get the most out of it. And, you know, guys are fired up about coming into this building. So I think that triggers from the top to the bottom, man. Like, you know, Sean McVay setting the tone, and, you know, having guys like Jaden Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, you know, Robert Woods, Coop, I could go on and on and on. But, you know, guys are respected by the top, and, you know, vice versa. You know, they respect them as well, too. So it's just one common goal, and the energy feels great here.
And does that always flow from the head coach or from the veteran players? How does it happen?
Yeah, I mean, usually from the past, you know, from when I came back, and I could go back to my first, you know, days in Philadelphia in 2008, when I stepped foot in the door in the building. When I came in, I had guys like Brian Westbrook, Brian Dawkins, Donovan McNabb. You know, it was a certain persona that them guys kind of upheld. And, you know, the main guys on the team, the head coach was Andy Reid. You know, they had a demeanor where all these young guys, or I don't care if he was a first rounder, you was a big time free agent. Like, you know, when you stepped into that room or on that field, it was certain guys you respected, and those guys that you respected held accountability to every player, you know, from top to bottom. So I think it's installed obviously from the head coach, and then you have your players that, you know, the Aaron Donalds, the Jaden Ramseys, that when you step on this field, you understand it's business, and we're going to work hard, we're going to have fun, but, you know, it's a professionalism mentality that everybody has to understand, and it's a pecking order. Everybody got to fall in line. And I think what I can say here, guys understand that, and they're just willing to, you know, play a part. It's all pieces to the puzzle. And if everybody plays their part, it could be something special.
And then the last one for me, and maybe it's kind of related. There are so many, as you said, it's a scary group of receivers, and then you add in, you know, a top tight end and a running back who's probably going to want more balls thrown his way. How are you guys going to find enough footballs to satisfy everybody? And what goes on at this point to try to figure out how everybody's going to get their touches?
I think the best thing I can tell you is that's not my decision. I leave that for Sean McVay and for Matthew Stafford. But for me, man, just being in the right position at the right time. Like, even if I don't get the ball and if I'm open, I mean, at least I can say every time I run my route, as long as I can worry about what DeSean Jackson is doing and I'm winning my battles, I mean, if the ball comes to me, I'm going to make the most out of my opportunity. But I feel like in the NFL, you have to, you know, it's other great guys out there. It's other good players out there. So it's not always me. So, you know, it took me, you know, time to understand that. You know, being younger, you kind of always wanted, you know, the accolades and the stats. But it's like, you know, the older you get, you understand, you know, the Patriots of the world, the teams that's done good, the Steelers, like they all have a system. And once you kind of figure out that system, it's interchangeable. Any guy could be the next man up. And it doesn't matter about a guy at that point because it's a system. So as long as you can interchange and put people in positions to win, as long as that guy is making the right, you know, decision or making a play, then, I mean, you know, that's that mindset you have to have.
Good stuff. Thank you.
We'll wrap up with Kurt, Stu, Steve, and then Jordan, please.
Hey, DeSean, good seeing you again. Hey, when you signed, you talked going back to where the stadium is in Inglewood. Was that a Pop Warner field? How old were you? What exactly was that?
Yeah, so man, it was a Pop Warner. I played for the Inglewood Redskins, Inglewood Jets. I played baseball at Sportsman Park, at Darby Park. Like all that is like right there in the vicinity where the stadium, SoFi Stadium, was built. You know, so for me, man, it just takes me back to when I was a little kid. I was probably like 6, 7, 8 years old when I first started playing. So I can remember like that, the surface, the soil, like all that area is like where I was my roots. You get what I'm saying? So it's like now for it to be, I'm 34 years old, 14 years in the league, and it's like now I'm back home where I all started at. Like it's just honestly, man, like I feel like the story can be written off no better. So I know it's a lot of work. You know, we know what we have to do. We know what we're up against, but just to see the story kind of unfold, man. If you know everything happens the way I envision it, and everybody in this building wants to envision it, man, it don't get no better than that, man.
So as a 34-year-old, 14 years in the league, you know that when these OTAs end Thursday, it's really kind of your last break before full steam ahead. As a veteran, how much do you get away? Do you not get away? Do you just focus on football? Do you focus on how much of a balance of taking care of your body, those type of things?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you really don't really have too much time. Like now, it's that point where, like you said, 6 weeks away, we're back in training camp. You know, so for me, I think this is a good jump start to understand that, you know, I have to plan this schedule out ahead, and I really have to go. You know, this week I had to do this week. So everything I'm going to be planning out is going to be really all through workouts. You know, and making sure my body is up to par, so you know I can play a full season. You know, the past few years, I've had suffered some injuries, so it's been tough. But so you know, in my mental, man, I know what I need to do to get right, and you know, you don't need to work yourself too hard because training camp is going to come and we're going to be thrown right back into it again. So you just have to find a happy medium where you're getting good work, but you're not killing yourself. And you kind of got to put in a vacation here and there, but it's one of the things, being a guy where I'm at, you just got to know how to schedule it out. I know a lot of young guys really don't have a clue how to do it, but you know, I encourage these young guys to look up to guys that's been in this position before, to know how to schedule this last 6 weeks out. So once you come back, you're not burnt out and you're ready for the long call. But 17 game season now, right?
Right. Thanks, DeSean. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Stu. Go ahead, Stu.
I think he might be froze.
Steve, go ahead.
Hey, DeSean, good seeing you, man. Hey, look, you know, just listening to you talk about your 14 years, you being excited back in LA and everything about this offense. How much would it mean to you to go out and have another one of those explosive type seasons at this point, like you said, with the environment that you're in?
Yeah, man, it's gonna mean the world to me, man. Like I said, I've known the past few years, you know, what I endured and, you know, some of the injuries that I've suffered. But, you know, for me, you know, being a guy that's, you know, since day one has kind of been under the radar, never really got the respect. You know, I can remember back in the day, they said I wasn't going to make it past 3 years in the NFL, you know. So, I mean, all that is what I use to fuel my fire, man. So knowing where I've made it through in my career and where I'm at, you know, I still have a lot more to prove. I still have a lot more to accomplish. And, you know, statistically, I mean, it's all great. And, you know, adding on to that, but, you know, I'm looking for that next stage. You know, I want to win a championship, and I definitely would love to do it here in my home city. So for me, like, it's really, it don't even really come down to the stats and the statistics no more, man. Because at the end of the day, you know, I've accomplished a lot of great things in my career, but, you know, for me, I haven't held up that trophy. So, you know, these last few years, man, I'm gonna give it my all to, you know, be a guy that's, you know, not a self guy, to be about my team and really put it on the line, whatever it is they need me to do. I mean, if that's being a decoy, if that's running off, like whatever it is I need to do, in addition to me still, you know, getting my plays and scoring them long touchdowns. I mean, it can all be worked out, is what I'm saying. So I'm just happy and excited, and, you know, hopefully my role, whatever that role is, I can do it to my best ability.
And with all your experience too. I mean, talk about big play players. I mean, I'm just talking about, not just talking about offensive guys, but the Jalen Ramseys and guys like that in your defense too. When you look at this roster, what about the big playability you see on both sides of the ball?
Man, it's scary, man. Honestly, I mean, I've played against, Jalen. I've played against Aaron Donald. I mean, them guys single-handedly can take over a game in the sense of a snap of a finger. So to be able to have guys like that, like, man, I've played with some great corners. Nabi Asuma, Sante Samuel, Josh Normans. I've played with some great corners, but obviously playing with a guy like Jalen, his competitive nature, and he's young and his frame, man, like he's a long, lanky corner, man, and he's able to move and he can run fast. So playing with a guy like him, and then on the flip side, playing with Aaron Donald, I played with Fletcher Cox. I've done played with some few good ones, but man, Aaron Donald is a different breed, man. So like I said, single-handedly being able to take over a game, like as long as our defense can continue to give us the ball back, we're gonna score. We're gonna score. They stop, we score. So hopefully that you'll see a lot of that this season.
Appreciate it, Sean.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, DeSean, thanks for taking so much time with us today. Hey, I wanted to touch back on what you were talking about regarding getting into a rhythm with the quarterback. With someone with your speed ability, what specific conversations can you guys have about establishing timing in an offense that's so dependent on the timing of each play?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like it's a field thing. I feel like in Matthew Stafford's career, he's had, deep threats in his career. He had a Calvin Johnson. He's had other wide receivers that he's been able to vertically throw the ball down the field. So, and a guy like myself, seeing that and knowing that, I mean, it's really not too much, we really have to do, because I mean, he has that intangible and I have the same intangible to go track it and, to get open and make these deep threats. I mean, these deep plays. So for us, I mean, it's just really just getting our timing down and getting out on the field and just really him seeing my speed, me seeing his arm strength. So I know how to run my route. He knows where to throw the ball to. So if it's a defender somewhere, he knows to outthrow that defender. And, I know to outrun that defender. So it's just little things like that, intangibles where he's already kind of done and I've done too. So, I mean, that's why, having vets like that, I mean, it's a lot easier than, everybody kind of makes it out to seem like, oh, he has to do this and he has to, like, no, it's simple. Like, we're both professionals. We're great at what we do. You continue to be great and just throw the ball, and I'm going to continue to be great and just run past everybody and use my speed. So I think that's the good niche about it. We're just going to be, dialed in and continuously just learn the plays. And, once season starts, we'll be in rare shape for him.
Thanks, DeSean.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up with one final question from Stu, please.
Hey, DeSean. Thanks for the time. Just wanted to ask you real quick about another younger wide receiver, Van Jefferson. When you've been out there on the field with him this spring, what have you seen from him?
And Van is a very polished receiver, man. To be as big as he is, he's intangible to run routes and getting out his breaks, man, is very impressive. He's a very physical guy as well too. But I think his route separation and how quick he's explosive in and out of his breaks. For me, that guy could be very special one day, man. I see what it is, what they like about him, man. And he works very hard. He's out on the field every day putting in the work, and he's a guy that's always asking the older guys how to get better and how to better himself. So I definitely see the upside in him. I think he's going to be very special in this league.